Hi guys, it's me today. I wasn't gonna make a video, but look at this awesome job I did on my makeup. Whoa! Decided to go with a black liner. This is all from a new palette, NYX, I think, NYX. Yeah, I think I'm getting better. So, also part two of this video, besides admiring my makeup, is my puppy. This is Maddie. Maddie, my son. Say hi. He's almost 15, I think. Are you 15 years old now? He's an old guy. Yay. Okay. Also, what I had a real request. All the other requests are fake. Someone asked me what ENFP is, so I'll break it down. ENFP is based on, it's one personality out of 16 that's comes from Carl Jung. So he looked at the mind, the psyche, basically does two things. It observes and it makes judgments. So when you think about it like that, he broke it down by 8 functions. Each function has an introverted and an extroverted function or direction, I guess. So there's intuition, feeling, thinking, and judging. Feeling and thinking are the... No, wait, did I get that right? Judging isn't a cognitive function. Intuition, feeling, thinking, and sensing. Okay, so sensing and intuition are gathering. They gather information, and feeling and thinking make judgments based on the information you gather. So each personality has all 8 functions. The first 4 are what makes up your conscious mind. There's actually 4 sides of your mind. Your consciousness, that's what we're all familiar with, unconscious, subconscious, and superego. Those 3 you're not aware of, so don't worry about them. You can make cognitive transitions. That's why ENFPs are actually some of the most focused people when they cognitive transition, because their superego is actually an ISTJ. ISTJs, hi! Thank you for being so dedicated and having good discipline. But actually, I can beat you if I cognitive transition. And that is 100% how I got through my engineering degree. Yeah. So all personalities have some combination of these functions, and the order in which the functions appear for you make up your personality. So the first slot in your cognitive functions, for me, extroverted intuition is the strongest of your functions. For INFJs, for example, is introverted intuition. That's their function state. So extroverted intuition for me it's what definitely gives people the sense that ENFPs are scattered, but it's an exploration function. So it's kind of like just going out in all directions. Whatever I'm interested in, I will take a look at it from a lot of different angles. It does, even to me, feel a bit random. But when you really look at it and you really think about it, all these ideas are connected. So I really like having extroverted intuition. I think it's fun. Then it's parented by my introverted feeling. So I'm very preoccupied with how I feel, which kind of like, it makes me sound selfish, but actually for ENFPs, typically, especially healthy ones, it typically is kind of like a parent that is like, is everything I'm doing aligned with my values? So me personally, and a lot of NFs, they have a pretty it's like already hardwired into our brains, this kind of like desire to cooperate, to make the group work well. So I tend to be pretty moral or pretty good. Like, Yeah, I really don't want to hurt anyone. It's counterproductive. That's my main motivation, I think, is because of my introverted feeling. So it makes me very empathetic, because I have a strong sense of how I feel in any given situation. And I just will make the assumption that, if I feel this way, other people may feel this way too. So I wouldn't, I'm not going to slap you in the face because I know that won't make me feel good. So probably won't make you feel good. But that's limited because I actually have extroverted feeling is my 6th slot, or it's my critic function. So I'm very critical of how other people feel. And if you've noticed on this channel, whether I'm attacking politics or incels or whatever, I'm attacking how they feel. It's funny because I'm a sensitive person, but when I see other sensitive people, I'm like, stop being so sensitive. So I'm very hypocritical. Third function is, oh my god, another good one, extroverted thinking. Extroverted thinking is all about how I can take outside things and put them together to make something happen. So it's kind of like, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, like the bottle, ship in a bottle metaphor. It's kind of like that. I like it. It's really useful to have, but it's extroverted. So I noticed that actually I noticed on the internet people were shocked to find out that some people don't have an internal monologue going through their head. I don't have an internal monologue going through my head hardly ever. I can, but it's something I actively have to decide to do, sort of. Most of my thoughts may start out verbal, and then quickly kind of pictures, or I don't even have to picture something to think of it. Like, I'm thinking about a fire hydrant without saying it and without picturing it, but I can still think about it. That's how most of my thoughts go. So there are a lot of ideas. And this is, I think, one reason that ENFPs are very fast. We think really, really quickly. Well, if you have an internal monologue in your head, it's going to slow your thinking down. I'm not saying if that's you and that's how you think, that's great. It's not important to go fast. But ENFPs move pretty fast. So there's that. My last function in my consciousness is introverted sensing. So I'm all about feeling good. Like, physically, I have to feel good. So, menstrual cramps, I'm gonna make that argument that they're harder for ENFPs than they are for any other type. I really hate them. And then there's, oh, he always looks so sad. He's tired. Let me see if I can put you here. My little baby. So, there's, look at the camera. Look at the camera. No, the wrong way, Maddie. The wrong way. Look. Yeah, you're so pretty. You're so pretty, like me. Okay, so there's introverted sensing is all about how I feel physically. So it's a baby function. So I kind of failed to mention that each of these functions has a maturity level. My first slot is extroverted intuition. It's my flow state. I'm really good at it. I'm the best at it, except for maybe whoever has except for ESTPs. ESTPs, when they transition, their super ego is, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Oh, I got that kind of wrong. Oh, whatever. I don't write this stuff down. So ESTP's super ego is me, ENFP. So they are actually the best at extroverted intuition. Normally they're the worst, but when they cognitive transition, they're the best. Similarly, when I have ESTP super ego, so I'm the worst at extroverted sensing, which is all about being aware of my physical surroundings. So I'm not great at telling you what's going on as it's happening, but I can be the best at this. And extroverted sensing, one time I dated an ESTP, and I really, really enjoyed dating him. It was a ton of fun for me. So extroverted sensing, an ESTP's hero is extroverted sensing. So an ENFP dating an ESTP, it's pretty exciting because we have flipped demon functions, which is our 8th function, which is the worst. We don't understand it. We're not good at it. It's hard for me to relate to an SC hero. But this ESTP guy, oh my God, he just knew how to do things. Like, he really, for example, one time we went camping and hello. We went camping and all the spots were taken at this popular spot, and he bribed a kid. He, like, the first person rejected us, and then we continued on, and then he had an idea to bribe a kid, and he said, just call me when somebody, here's my number, call me when somebody cancels for that day. And sure enough, somebody canceled, and he called us right away, and we hopped over. Oh my god. And then later that kid got really paranoid about getting caught, because actually I think the lady complained because we showed up and they were in a fight, which is why they canceled their camping trip. But it all worked out for us, and that was extroverted sensing, I think. Like, I don't have a problem bribing teenagers to get a spot at a camping resort, but I don't know if I would have thought of it, or if I would have been confident enough that it would have worked, but it worked. And I have countless examples of how he just knew how to make things and work at, like, and he very good at dressing himself. ENFPs are kind of different. They tend to be pretty quirky. I mean, I know I have 2 buns, especially during quarantine. Whew, I like to get crazy with my aesthetic, but ESTP's aesthetic is amazing. They really know how to make themselves look good. Where was I going with this? The 4 sides of the mind. Yeah, so if you're new to MBTI, forget that part. It's not super important. The first 4 functions are important. Know that your first slot is what you're really good at. That's what you do most of the time. Your second slot is your parent and more pessimistic. And it kind of takes care of kind of like, it's very important. Like, it's something that we all have that, although not everyone has introverted feeling in their second slot. But yeah, my third function is extroverted thinking. It has like it has the maturity level of a 10-year-old. So pretty good, like pretty decent, I'd say. And then my SI, which is a baby maturity level. So it's something I have to take care of. We all have to take care of our 4th functions. If you think about your 4th function like a baby, it's just, think of it as like, this is something that I have to take care of. I'm constantly holding my little SI baby, and it causes me, before I knew anything about this, I would do weird things sometimes that I thought were weird, and I didn't really understand why I was doing them. But actually, it's a real need that I have, is to take care of my SI. So for me, that looks like when I'm, for example, when I have to leave like a job that I really like, I'll probably go around to the areas that I hung out with, the areas I like to hang out with in the office. I go there, I physically go to those locations, and I just spend time there by myself. And it's like kind of like a way to say goodbye to that space. I don't like the idea of being sentimental. I always thought, why am I so sentimental about this? Like, you know, but it's definitely an SI thing, because SI has to do with memory. So SI is like using past memories to help inform and predict what's going on. SI heroes are people like, I think ISTJs are SI heroes, so very well organized people, extremely well organized. This is the type of person, an SI hero is the type of person who has a shower at the same time every single day, whereas I'm the type of person, I may have a shower the first thing when I wake up, or I may do it at night. I could do it in the middle of the day. I could have 2 showers today and not shower tomorrow. Yeah, it's go with the flow. I do what I feel like when I feel like doing it, and I don't plan my days ever. That's pretty much how it goes for me. So yeah, introverted sensing is my baby that I constantly take care of. You can be what's called like a healthy ENFP or an unhealthy one. An unhealthy ENFP will be extremely selfish. They are hard to hide. You can see them a mile away. But there's not a lot, like, I don't think there's a ton of unhealthy ENFPs. I don't know, ENFPs tend to, when they're unhealthy, they tend to take things inwards on themselves, and I think that's an introverted feeling thing. I'm very like, and that's again going back to ENFPs not sharing their negative feelings with other people, right, and their boundaries and those sorts of insecurities and struggles. And that's because it's all like, I feel very responsible for my own feelings, and I really don't like, so it makes me conflict averse. It also makes it really hard for me to like put blame on anyone. So I'm much more likely to blame myself in any situation, which makes, and pair that with an SI inferior, it's really hard to get over breakups, like really hard. But one thing about that, if you're an ENFP and you're watching this, and you're trying to get over a breakup, well, there's a little bit of a trick here. The trick here is you gotta focus on yourself and you have to meditate. More than anyone else, you have to meditate because you have SI inferior, and that's how you can get SI inferior to mature a little bit. I mean, it's never going to be more mature than even your TE, but it's going to help you to balance it out, because if you don't mature your fourth slot at all, then you're really using your other cognitive functions as like, they're kind of like slaves to the SI, to whatever your fourth function is. So for example, people who have TE as their fourth slot, those are the people that get really upset when they feel like they're not being listened to at all. Whereas because I have TE in my third function, when people don't listen to me, it really doesn't bother me, because honestly, it's kind of like, I know that whatever I'm trying to express with my TE and they're not getting it, I was like, it's their fault for not listening to me. And when they're going to have to deal with the bad consequences, because if an ENFP is telling you to do something, even if it doesn't make sense, it's probably for a reason. And it's hard to describe the abstract world. I mean, abstract versus logical. ENFPs live in an abstract internal world. So, but they're lucky enough that they understand the logic. Like, I can definitely cater myself to an ST, which is somebody who wants concrete details. Like, they don't want me to start talking about what do you feel and what do you think about these crazy ideas that you can't follow. Instead, they kind of want me to say like, okay, there's a plant here and it's an aloe plant, and then, I really like gardening. Leave it at that. That's very concrete. It's very so I'll talk about concrete things when I'm with people who I notice don't appreciate my abstract nature. And actually a lot of people don't seem to appreciate it, and sometimes it does hurt my feelings. Like, I'll get into something that I'm really into and I really want to share it with everyone around me, whatever I'm interested in, and when people kind of reject this, or they don't like what I like, it really it makes me feel like they're not putting in the effort to really understand me, which bothers me. Like, that's a good sign. This is a relationship that I don't want to pursue. And there are friends that I have that have made me, they make me feel this way sometimes. And it's really tricky because I don't want to, I never want to not be friends with anyone. But like, especially, the one thing that I will cut people off from is if they treat other people poorly, then that's a deal breaker, and it's very easy for me to just walk away from that. But it's not as easy when I feel like it's me that's not really being treated correctly or how I'd like. And it's just, again, these boundary struggles. I don't know if that's fully an ENFP thing. That's the other thing that I would really like, and if you have any insight into this, please by all means tell me. But where does typology end, and like the rest of you, kind of like, how much can your personality, what is personality? Can we even define it? Because I tried for this video to think about how to define personality, and it's not something easy. Like, and I think a lot of people with typology stuff, when they want to know how to type other people, it's because they want to categorize, they want to be able to quickly make quick assumptions about you, which is not super great, because then you're discounting a lot of, like, you'll lose out on a lot of potential information about this other person if you type them right away. And then you're like, the worry there for me is that, okay, now I know everything I need to know about you just because I know your type, which, I mean, 1 of 16, and it's a model. It's not perfect. Just like, I don't know, math is also a model, a lot better. Math is pretty comprehensive, but like the atom, that's a good metaphor. The atom has protons, electrons, neutrons, and then it has cloud of electrons spinning around it. I mean, this is a model of what an atom is. It's not 100% accurate. Like, it doesn't really describe how electrons jump shells. So if you don't know anything about chemistry, forget that metaphor. But it's just, the point is that there's a model, and Myers-Briggs and the cognitive functions is a model for how our personalities are are shaped and how we can, and it's useful, but it's not all encompassing. And I get that sense, you know, like my boundary issues, are they really a result of my personality and the order of my cognitive functions, or is it like independent, more a me thing, you know? And I don't even know how to figure that out. Like, would I have to get ENFPs all together and start asking, just have like a complete study of them and ask them a ton of questions and then compare those answers in some database? And like, it's a lot of work, but you know, maybe you could do somebody could do something like that, or maybe it's been done. But I'm just exploring typology. I'm exploring it and I like it. And for me personally, the benefit here, and this is kind of getting on long for this video, but the benefit here for me is like going back to my SI, kind of like acceptance of my sentimental nature, which is really an SI inferior. And then to be self-aware of that, and then to actively try and, you know, cater towards it so that I don't have to use my other functions to constantly be babying it. It's really great. It can be helpful for personal growth. That's what I want to use it for. Not to say that typing other people is bad. Like, I love going on the internet and being like, ENFP famous people, so that I can be like, oh, look what this ENFP did with their life. I think it's useful to compare, just so like it gives me ideas of like different areas to go. So I really like people who have hero extroverted intuition, which is also ENTPs have extroverted intuition, and I love ENTPs. Like, ENTPs are kind of amazing because they have extroverted intuition, but they have it with their thinking function instead of feeling. And it's definitely a different flavor of extroverted intuition. And I love it. It's great. I'm orange and they are strawberry. Yeah. So I hope that kind of clears it up. Yeah. I do somewhat prepare sometimes for these videos, but it's very loose. Like, I don't write anything down. Yeah, and let's just appreciate one more time this great, oh my god, like, I'm getting good at blending my eyes. Okay, so I'll just quickly go through how to do the eye. This is the last thing in this video. So like, you're getting a 3-parter here. You got to meet my other dog, and you got to learn about ENFPs from a slightly more scientific and less anecdotal place, and now you get to know how I did this eye. So makeup tutorial, it's a 3-in-1 deal. You're welcome. Okay, so step 1. Well, some people just do their eyes before their foundation, but I like to do foundation first. So foundation complete. Sometimes I do primer, but primer is for special occasions only because that stuff is pricey. And then it gets rid of all the pores. So like, for example, you can kind of, even on the camera, you can still see pores. Yeah, but I'm not going to waste that primer on this. Sorry, guys. So, foundation, just even coverage. I want my skin to look one complete color, and it does, which is not the same color as my skin, and it's really a base layer. Like a primer on paint. When you paint, you have to like do that layer, and then you do your actual paint layer. This is what foundation is like. Okay, so it's a complete even surface canvas. Then I go ahead and I put some, what is it called? The cover stick. It's you cover concealer. I put concealer on my eyelid, complete cover it from tip to like about eye end here-ish, but like the complete eye covered in concealer. And then you go in, and I always start on this corner, and I pack in that first color, which is actually a very orange, but I covered it with a different orange. So you can blend colors, and when you blend them on your lid. So you pack it on, you like this. If this is my eye, pack. See, I'm not rubbing. You don't go like this. Don't do that. You just pack. You're packing on all the pigment, right? And it doesn't look right. It doesn't look right when you're doing it, right? It does not end up looking like this while you're doing it. So you do the outside part of your eye here. Then you go to the inside, and I did yellow here. Then I chose, I have a rainbow palette. I should just go and show you guys, but that's a different video. Anyways, then I chose a slightly orangey yellow as my transition color. So I packed in the orangey red, packed in the yellow, then went in with my transition color and packed that on. No blending. No blending. Okay, very little blending. Don't blend. It will mess it up, because the thing is that, well, these colors are a little bit safer to blend because I just have an orange, pink, and yellow. But let's say you have red and blue on one eye. If you blend it, it's going to turn brown, so don't blend. Okay, blending is the last step. And then you go in with like a lighter color here as a highlight. Then I went in on my crease with an orange, and that's why you blend it, and you do it very lightly, less is more. And then I always go in on my brow bone with something really light that's very similar to the color of my skin. And then today I chose black eyeliner. I almost always do liquid because you can get a crisp line, and I always have this problem where my eyeliner looks different. If you can see it, they aren't the same. But actually, this is not that bad for me. So, yeah, this one's a little bit more winged. It's very hard. One thing, so I always go with this eye first. This eye usually turns out better, and like straight across, right? I need a little bit of a wing, because if I stick to my eyelids, actually, you have to think about this. So what really can change the look of an eye is the angle, and because I'm wearing eyeliner, you can't really see it, but the angle at which my lid connects to the bottom part. Some people, it's angled more upwards, which is nice because that makes your eye look bigger and it's easier to apply eyeliner. Mine are angled down, so if I don't give myself a wing, maybe I'll show you on my next video, if I don't give myself a wing and I just stick to that line, it just shrinks my eyes in. It just like shrinks in. So I have to do a wing. So to kind of correct that, not that there's anything wrong with my eyes are great, but it's just that angle. Like, it's just because makeup's an optical illusion. So, I'm just kind of tricking your eye to think that it kind of goes up, which makes my eyes look bigger than they are. Yeah. So, and then I went with black because this sunrise look is pretty good. Like, I could have maybe gone with you need the contrast with the black here, because if I went with a yellow, because it's such a warm eye, you need some contrast. I could have gone blue, but I thought that the black would really pop with it, and I think it does. And then I go with my favorite this lipstick. That just proves to you, I have bought in my life very, very expensive, the most expensive makeup that you can find, that you can buy. Well, maybe not the most expensive, but like, I'm talking like, like $50 for one liquid eyeliner, $100 for an eyeshadow palette, like that kind of makeup, and yeah, the quality is better, but not always, because look at this. This is a cheap hard candy lipstick. I love this. I love sparkle. I like coral. It's you can wear this lip color with almost any look on your eye. It just is so great. Yeah. So I really appreciate that. I really appreciate hard candy, and NYX is good too. This is the NYX eyeshadow palette, one that looks carnival-y. It has all colors, and it was only $23 with tax. Great. It was great value, so thank you, because I really don't. But the problem, okay, so here is the truth behind it all. So yes, do you get long-lasting makeup with NYX? Yes, you do. Is the pigment super good? Yes. Is it easy to apply? Yes. Not any fallout, hardly anything. So where's the catch? Because price is right, quality is right, it lasts long. Like, it's just as good as anything that you can buy at Sephora or whatever. So where's the trade-off here? Well, some of these colors aren't eyeshadows, they're eye pigments, which aren't actually supposed to be applied to your eye because it can stain your eye. And your eyelids are the thinnest skin on your body, so that's the trade-off. Is it safe? I mean, it can't be that dangerous. I mean, I did it. I put the eye, well, actually, I didn't happen to use any of the eye pigments, but that's just because they were the purpley ones, and this isn't a purple look, so actually I didn't, but I would. I don't think it's that risky. Kind of reminds me of that girl, I don't know if you guys saw on the internet somewhere, a girl who tattooed her sclera, her white part of her eye. I mean, it looked so painful, but did it look badass? Yes, it looked badass. She went with a purple. It looked badass. Like, it did look cool, but it's such a commitment. Like, it's a commitment to go that way. I mean, a tattoo on your skin is one thing. Even a Justin Bieber tattoo, like face tattoo, even that's okay actually. Like, if I had a son and he did that, and it turned out the way it did for Justin Bieber, the Biebs, I would be okay with it. It really doesn't. Some people can pull off a face tattoo. Would I give myself a face tattoo? No. Too risky and quite the commitment. That's the other thing about ENFPs. And I think this is an interesting topic that I will save for the next video, because this is 30 minutes. It's going to take forever to upload. But the other thing I want to talk about was codependent relationships and what that looks like from an ENFP's perspective. And of course, you guys already know that the ENFP is not the dismissive. It's definitely the preoccupied anxious. Do I look anxious to you? Am I a calming person? I don't think so. Okay. So what was this video about? Just to recap this, well, really at this point it's a lecture. Dog, makeup, and what ENFP is from the cognitive functions of Carl Jung. I don't know if I covered anything else, but that's it. Those are important. So thank you for staying with me, and it's gonna be hard to title this one. Okay, talk to you later. See all you cool cats and kittens and puppies.